The ultimatum. The vast expanse of space had long been silent to humanity's ears. For centuries, we had gazed at the stars, wondering if we were alone in the universe. On July 7th, 2045, that question was answered with a resounding, terrifying clarity. It began as an ordinary day at the Global Space Communications Center in Geneva. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, lead astrophysicist, was reviewing data from deep space probes when an alarm blared through the facility. At first, she thought it was a malfunction. Their systems often picked up random space noise. But as she analyzed the incoming signal, her heart began to race. "This can't be right," she muttered, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. "Computer, verify signal origin and composition." The AI responded in its cool, measured tone. Signal verified. Origin, approximately 2.5 light-years from Earth. Composition, complex data structure indicative of intelligent design. Belena's mind reeled. This was it. First contact. But as she decrypted the message, her excitement turned to dread. The signal contained a holographic projection that materialized in the center of the control room. A being unlike anything humanity had ever seen appeared, tall, with iridescent skin and multiple appendages that seemed to shift and change as it moved. When it spoke, its voice resonated not through sound, but directly in the minds of all who watched. "People of Earth," it began, its tone imperious and cold. "We are the Galactic Council, rulers of the known universe. Your planet has been noticed, and as such, you are now subject to our authority. We demand tribute as acknowledgement of our supremacy." The being went on to list the Council's requirements: vast quantities of rare Earth elements, a percentage of Earth's water supply, and most chillingly, a tithe of human beings for purposes unknown. The message concluded with a stark ultimatum: comply within 1 Earth month or face annihilation. As the hologram faded, Elena found herself shaking. She looked around the room, seeing her own shock and fear mirrored on her colleagues' faces. "Get me the Secretary General," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Now. Within hours, the message had been relayed to every government on Earth. Emergency sessions were called, military forces were put on high alert, and a global panic began to simmer just beneath the surface of society. In Washington, D.C., President Amara Chen sat in the Situation Room, surrounded by her top advisors. The atmosphere was tense, filled with a mix of disbelief and grim determination. "What are our options?" Chen asked, her voice steadied despite the weight of the situation. General Marcus Stone, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, cleared his throat. "Madam President, from a military standpoint, we're outmatched. We have no way of knowing the full extent of their capabilities, but if they can send a message like that from 2.5 light-years away, it's safe to assume their technology far surpasses our own. So we just give in." Secretary of State Yuki Tanaka interjected, her voice sharp. "Hand over our resources, our people." "Of course not," Chen replied, her eyes narrowing. "But we need to buy time." "Dr. Emerson, what's the status of Project Prometheus?" Dr. Alicia Emerson, head of the top-secret Global Defense Initiative, leaned forward. "It's not ready, Madam President. We've made significant strides in reverse engineering the artifacts we found in Antarctica, but we're years away from anything that could match this level of technology." Chen nodded, having expected as much. "Then we need to stall. Yuki, I want you to reach out to the UN. We need a united front on this. No country acts alone." As similar conversations play out in capitals around the world, humanity grappled with the reality of its new situation. Streets in major cities filled with a mix of protesters and doomsday preppers. Religious leaders called for calm while simultaneously seeing their congregations swell. Scientists worked around the clock, analyzing every scrap of data from the alien transmission. In the following days, attempts were made to respond to the Galactic Council. Messages were beamed into space, pleading for more time, for negotiation, for mercy. But the cosmos remained silent. The Council had made its demand, and they seemed content to wait for Earth's response. As the deadline drew nearer, a sense of desperation began to set in. Some nations threatened to capitulate, willing to sacrifice their sovereignty and citizens for a chance at survival. Others advocated for a show of force, arguing that humanity should go down fighting if it came to that. But in labs and secret facilities around the world, a different approach was taking shape. Dr. Emerson and her global team of scientists had been making progress, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and technology. They weren't ready to fight the Council, but perhaps they had enough to surprise them. 20 days after the initial message, world leaders convened in a highly secure underground facility. The tension in the room was palpable as President Chen took the floor. "We've all seen the projections," she began, her voice grave. "If we comply with the Council's demands, we cripple our planet and condemn countless citizens to an unknown fate. If we refuse outright, we risk annihilation. But today, we have a third option." She nodded to Dr. Emerson, who stepped forward with a holographic projector of her own. As the scientists began to explain their daring plan, the room filled with a mixture of hope and disbelief. It was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy. But as the leaders of Earth looked at one another, a silent consensus began to form. Humanity had spent its entire existence fighting, innovating, and surviving against the odds. They had gone from cave dwellers to space explorers in the blink of cosmic eye. Now, faced with their greatest challenge yet, they would not go quietly into the night. As the meeting adjourned, President Chen looked out over the assembly. "We have 10 days, she said, her voice ringing with determination. "Let's show this galactic council who they're dealing with." The die was cast. Earth had made its choice. Now, all that remained was to prepare for the consequences, whatever they might be. Humanity unites. The next 10 days saw a flurry of activity unlike anything in human history. The impending deadline from the Galactic Council loomed over every decision, every action. Yet, in the face of this cosmic threat, humanity showed its true colors. In New Delhi, the International Science Consortium convened an emergency summit. Brilliant minds from every corner of the globe gathered, setting aside old rivalries and petty disagreements. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, still reeling from her role in receiving the alien message, found herself at the center of it all. "We need to understand their technology," she addressed the assembled scientists, her voice steady despite her inner turmoil. "Every scrap of data from that transmission needs to be analyzed. We're looking for weaknesses, patterns, anything we can use." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a quantum physicist from Japan, stepped forward. "I've been studying the signal's quantum entanglement properties. There's something odd about it. It's as if they're using principles of physics we haven't even discovered yet." As the scientists debated and theorized, another gathering was taking place halfway across the world. In a fortified bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, military strategists from dozens of nations huddled around holographic displays of Earth's defenses. General Stone, his face etched with worry, addressed the group. "We need to face facts. Our most advanced weapon systems are likely to be useless against their technology. We need to think outside the box." A young colonel from Kenya, Amina Osi, spoke up. "What if we don't fight them on their terms? Earth has one advantage they might not expect: our diversity. We've spent millennia adapting to every environment this planet has to offer. That has to count for something." Her words sparked a fierce debate, but also ignited a spark of hope. Humanity might be outgunned, but they were far from outmatched. Meanwhile, in the sprawling underground complex that housed Project Prometheus, Dr. Alicia Emerson worked tirelessly with her team. The artifacts discovered in Antarctica years ago had puzzled and amazed them, hinting at a level of technology far beyond human understanding. Now, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance, they'd pushed themselves to the limit. "We've made a breakthrough," Dr. Emerson announced during a video conference with world leaders. "The artifacts seem to be able to manipulate gravitational fields in ways we never thought possible. If we can harness this technology..." President Chen leaned forward, her eyes bright with interest. Go on, Doctor. What are you proposing? Dr. Emerson took a deep breath. We believe we can create a device that could, in theory, generate a localized field of altered space-time. It's not a weapon, not in the traditional sense, but it could be our ace in the hole. As the leaders digested this information, reports flooded in from around the globe. People were coming together in ways never seen before. Old enemies set aside their differences, pooling resources and knowledge. Hackers and tech giants collaborated, strengthening Earth's digital infrastructure against potential alien incursion. Farmers and botanists worked on contingency plans for food security. In orbit, astronauts from a dozen nations worked feverishly to fortify the International Space Station, transforming it into humanity's first line of defense. They knew it was likely futile against the advanced technology of the Galactic Council, but the symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Humanity standing united, reaching for the stars. 7 days before the deadline, President Chen called for a global address. As billions tuned in, she stood before the cameras, her posture resolute. Citizens of Earth, she began, her voice clear and strong. We stand at a crossroads unlike any in our history. An alien power has demanded our submission, threatening our very existence. They expect us to bow down, to fracture, to surrender what makes us human. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the camera lenses, as if making eye contact with every viewer. But that is not who we are. Throughout our history, humanity has faced countless challenges. We've weathered ice ages, survived plagues, rebuilt after devastating wars. Each time, we've emerged stronger, more resilient. We are survivors, innovators, dreamers. Images flashed on screens worldwide. The pyramids of Giza, the Great Wall of China, modern skyscrapers reaching for the sky. Look at what we've accomplished, Chen continued. In the span of a single century, we went from our first powered flight to walking on the moon. We've peered into the heart of atoms and out to the edge of the observable universe. We've created art that touches the soul and music that transcends language. Her voice grew passionate, filled with pride and determination. Now we face our greatest challenge yet. But I stand before you today not in fear, but in awe of what we can achieve when we stand together. In every lab, every military base, every home and school and workplace, I see the indomitable spirit of humanity rising to meet this threat. The president's expression softened slightly, a hint of a smile playing at her lips. The Galactic Council may have advanced technology, but they've underestimated us. They don't know our history, our resilience, our unwavering determination. They see a young species, barely out of its cradle. We will show them a united world, standing as one, ready to claim our place among the stars. As Chen's speech concluded, a roar of approval rose from crowds gathered in cities around the world. The fear and panic of the past weeks transformed into a steely resolve. Humanity had made its decision. They would not submit, they would not cower. They would face this threat head-on, together. In the depths of Project Prometheus, Dr. Emerson and her team redoubled their efforts. The device they were creating might be humanity's only hope, a manifestation of human ingenuity and the strange technology left behind by some unknown civilization. As the deadline drew ever closer, Earth hummed with activity. Final preparations were made, contingencies put in place. In homes and community centers, people came together, finding strength in unity. Children looked to the stars not with fear, but with a newfound sense of wonder and determination. 3 days before the Council's deadline, President Chen convened a final meeting with world leaders. The plan they had formulated was audacious, perhaps even foolhardy. But as they looked at one another, there was no hesitation, no doubt. "We're ready," Dr. Emerson reported, her voice tired but filled with fierce pride. "The device is operational. It's not tested, not in any real sense, but it's the best we can do with the time we have." Chen nodded, her expression grim but determined. "Then we proceed as planned. May whatever powers exist in this universe be with us." As the meeting adjourned, a palpable sense of anticipation filled the air. In less than 72 hours, humanity would deliver its response to the Galactic Council. It would not be what the aliens expected. It would be pure, distilled humanity, resourceful, defiant, and unwilling to go quietly into the night. The stage was set. The pieces were in place. All that remained was to see how the cosmic drama would unfold. Operation Defiance. The final 72 hours before the Galactic Council's deadline ticked away with agonizing slowness. Across the globe, humanity held its collective breath, a mixture of fear, anticipation, and defiance coursing through billions of hearts. In the cavernous main chamber of Project Prometheus, Dr. Alicia Emerson stood before the fruit of their labor, a device that looked deceptively simple for the hopes it carried. About the size of a small car, it was a sleek, silvery construct of curves and angles that seemed to defy conventional geometry. The space-time modulator, Dr. Emerson explained to the assembled world leaders, her voice tinged with both pride and trepidation. It's designed to create a localized field of altered space-time. In theory, it could disrupt any form of matter or energy passing through it. President Chen stepped closer, examining the device with a mix of wonder and skepticism. And you're certain it will work against the Council's technology? Emerson's expression tightened. Certain? No, but based on what we've gleaned from their transmission and the Antarctic artifacts, we believe it has a chance. It's more than we had a month ago. As final preparations were made, the device was carefully transported to a specially prepared site in the Sahara Desert. The location had been chosen for its remoteness and the ease with which it could be monitored from space, a necessary consideration for what was to come. Meanwhile, in orbit, the enhanced International Space Station had been transformed into humanity's first line of defense and communication. Colonel Yuki Tanaka, having transitioned from diplomat to astronaut for this crucial mission, floated in the observation module, her eyes fixed on the star-studded blackness of space. "Any sign of them?" she asked, her voice tense. Her colleague, Dr. Dmitry Volkov, shook his head. "Nothing yet, but given their level of technology, they could appear at any moment." As if on cue, alarms blared throughout the station. On their screens, a massive shape materialized just beyond the moon's orbit. The Galactic Council's ship, a behemoth that dwarfed anything humanity had ever constructed. Down on Earth, in command centers and living rooms alike, all eyes turned to the skies. The alien vessel was visible even in broad daylight, a dark spot against the blue that seemed to defy reality. In the White House Situation Room, President Chen received the news with grim determination. "It's time," she said, her voice steady. "Initiate Operation Defiance." Across the globe, a carefully choreographed sequence of events began to unfold. Military forces went on high alert, not to attack, but to stand ready for any eventuality. The space-time modulator in the Sahara hummed to life, its energy readings spiking as it prepared to fulfill its purpose. In orbit, Colonel Tanaka took a deep breath and opened a channel to the alien ship. "Attention Galactic Council vessel," she began, her voice remarkably calm. "This is Colonel Yuki Tanaka of Earth. We are prepared to deliver our response to your demand." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a familiar voice resonated not just through the station speakers, but directly in the minds of all who heard it. "Speak, humans. We await your tribute and submission." Tanaka's eyes narrowed, a flicker of defiance crossing her features. "Our response is this. We invite a representative of the Galactic Council to Earth. We will deliver our answer in person, as befits a meeting between sovereign entities." There was a pause, pregnant with tension. When the Council's voice came again, it carried a note of surprise, and perhaps a hint of respect. "Your audacity is noted, humans. We will comply with this request. Prepare to receive our emissary." As the transmission ended, a collective sigh of relief echoed through command centers around the world. Phase 1 of Operation Defiance had succeeded. They had bought time, and more importantly, lured the Council into their carefully laid trap. Hours passed as humanity waited with bated breath. The alien ship remained in orbit, a constant reminder of the sword hanging over Earth's head. Then, as the sun began to set over the Sahara, instruments detected a smaller craft descending through the atmosphere. At the designated landing site, a delegation led by President Chen stood ready. The space-time modulator hummed quietly nearby, disguised as part of the welcoming platform. As the alien craft touched down, stirring up a cloud of sand, Chen straightened her back, chin held high. The ship's hatch opened with a hiss of escaping air, and from it emerged a being that seemed to defy description. Tall and lithe, with iridescent skin that shifted colors in the fading sunlight, the alien regarded the human delegation with eyes that swirled like galaxies. "I am Zaxanar," the being spoke, its voice resonating in their minds. "Emissary of the Galactic Council. We have come for your answer, humans. Will you submit and pay tribute, or will you choose extinction?" President Chen stepped forward, her gaze steady as she met the alien's swirling eyes. "Emissary Zaxanar," she began, her voice carrying across the desert air. "On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth. We have indeed prepared our response." She paused, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "But before we deliver it, we have a question for you and the council you represent." Zaxanar tilted its head, a gesture eerily reminiscent of human curiosity. "Speak your question, human. Though be warned, our patience is not infinite." Chen's smile grew wider, a fierce pride shining in her eyes. "Tell me, Emissary Zaxanar, in all your travels across the cosmos, in all the worlds you've conquered and species you've subjugated, have you ever encountered a civilization quite like ours?" The alien's form seemed to ripple, confusion evident in its posture. "I do not understand the relevance of this query. You are a young species, barely out of your planetary cradle. What could possibly set you apart?" "Ah," Chen replied, her voice taking on a teacher's patient tone. "That's where you're mistaken. We may be young by your standards, but we are far from naive. In the brief span of our existence, we've faced extinction countless times. We've survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, plagues that nearly wiped us out. We've warred amongst ourselves with weapons that could have scorched our planet clean of life." She gestured widely, encompassing not just the delegation, but the whole of Earth behind them. "And yet, here we stand. We've split the atom, walked on our moon, peered into the heart of our galaxy. We've created art that can move one to tears, music that can touch the soul. We've imagined futures among the stars and worked tirelessly to make those dreams reality." Zaxanar's form shimmered, its colors shifting rapidly. "This passion is admirable, but ultimately meaningless. You cannot hope to stand against the might of the Galactic Council." Chen's expression hardened, her voice taking on a steely edge. "Can't we? You came here expecting submission or resistance, but you overlooked a fundamental truth about humanity, emissary. We don't just survive. We thrive on challenges. We see impossibilities not as barriers, but as problems to be solved." She took a step closer to the alien, unflinching in the face of its otherworldly presence. "You asked for our response to your demand for tribute. Here it is. We will not submit. We will not give up our resources, our people, or our freedom. But neither will we fight you, not in the way you expect." With a nod from Chen, Dr. Emerson activated the space-time modulator. A shimmer passed through the air, like a heat haze but more substantial. Zaxanar's form wavered, its colors fluctuating wildly. What is this?" The alien's mental voice seemed to strain against some unseen force. "This," Chen replied, her voice filled with quiet triumph, "is humanity's response. We've created a field of altered spacitime, nullifying your advanced technology within its radius. Right now, you're as vulnerable as any of us." The alien emissary stumbled, clearly disoriented. "Impossible," it muttered. "Your species couldn't possibly." "Couldn't possibly what?" Chen pressed. Couldn't possibly innovate beyond your expectations. Couldn't possibly find a way to level the playing field. That's the thing about humanity, emissary. We specialize in doing the impossible. As Zaxanar struggled to comprehend what was happening, Chen delivered the final part of humanity's message. We don't want war, emissary. We don't seek to conquer or destroy. But make no mistake, we will not be conquered or destroyed either. We're prepared to extend this field across our entire planet if necessary. She softened her tone slightly, extending a hand in a gesture of peace. Instead, we propose this. Recognize Earth as a sovereign, independent world. Open diplomatic channels. Let us meet as equals to trade, to learn, to grow together. The universe is vast enough for all of us. Zaxanar's form gradually stabilized as it adjusted to the altered space-time field. It regarded Chen and the human delegation with new eyes filled with a mixture of shock, respect, and dawning understanding. You would negotiate, even from this position of strength. Chen nodded firmly. That's who we are, emissary. We don't seek domination. We seek understanding, cooperation, progress. We believe that together, we can achieve far more than we ever could through conflict. For a long moment, silence reigned over the desert. Then, slowly, Zaxanar inclined its head in what could only be interpreted as a vow. I must confer with the Council. This is unprecedented. As the alien retreated to its ship, presumably to communicate with its superiors, the human delegation shared looks of cautious hope. They had taken an incredible gamble, but it seemed to be paying off. President Chen turned to Dr. Emerson, a smile of genuine warmth on her face. Well done, Doctor. Your team has given humanity a fighting chance. Emerson nodded, her eyes bright with unshed tears of relief and pride. We all did this, Madam President. Every human on Earth played a part in getting us here. As they waited for the Galactic Council's response, a new feeling began to spread across the Earth. Not fear, not mere defiance, but hope. Hope for a future among the stars. Hope for a galaxy where humanity could stand tall and proud. The die had been cast. Earth had made its stand. Now they waited to see how the cosmic winds would blow. The single word. The desert air hung heavy with anticipation as humanity waited for the Galactic Council's response. President Chen and her delegation stood firm, their resolve unshaken despite the cosmic stakes of their gambit. Dr. Emerson kept a watchful eye on the space-time modulator, its quiet hum a reminder of the razor's edge they walked. After what seemed like an eternity, the hatch of the alien craft reopened. Zaxanar emerged, its iridescent form still shimmering oddly in the field of altered space-time. The alien's eyes, swirling pools of cosmic energy, fixed upon President Chen. The council has deliberated. Zaxanar's voice resonated in their minds, a mixture of confusion and grudging respect coloring its tone. Your actions are unprecedented. In all our cycles of expansion, no species has ever responded in such a manner. Chen nodded, her posture relaxed but alert. We tend to specialize in the unprecedented emissary. It's a human trait. A ripple passed through Zaxanar's form, almost like a chuckle. So we are learning. The council is intrigued by your proposal. They wish to know more about this diplomacy you speak of. But first, they require assurance. Assurance? Chen raised an eyebrow. Yes, Zaxanar continued. The council demands a demonstration of your commitment to peace. They require a single word, one word that encapsulates the essence of humanity, that proves your worth as a species deserving of cosmic recognition. A murmur ran through the human delegation. One word to define humanity, to prove their worth to the stars. It seemed an impossible task. Chen closed her eyes for a moment, her mind racing. In that instant, she saw the whole of human history flash before her, the triumphs and tragedies, the moments of breathtaking beauty and heartbreaking cruelty. She saw the first human to create fire, to plant a seed, to write a word. She saw wars and plagues, but also healing and reconciliation. She saw the first steps on the moon, probes venturing into the solar system, and now this, humanity's first true step onto the galactic stage. Her eyes snapped open, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Very well, emissary. We accept your challenge. Humanity's essence, our worth, our response to your demand for tribute. All of this we will convey in a single word. Zaxinar's form rippled with anticipation. Speak then, human. What is your word? President Chen took a deep breath, her voice clear and strong as she uttered the word that would define humanity to the cosmos. Persevere. The word hung in the air, seeming to resonate with a power all its own. Zaxinar's form flickered, its colors shifting rapidly as it processed the response. Persevere, Chen repeated, her voice gaining strength. It means to persist in the face of adversity, to continue steadfastly despite difficulty or opposition. It is the very core of what makes us human. She gestured broadly, encompassing not just the delegation, but all of Earth behind them. We have faced extinction countless times, emissary. Ice ages, plagues, wars that could have scorched our planet clean of life. Yet we persevered. We've struggled against our own nature, our own failings, yet we persevered. Chen's eyes blazed with pride and determination. We persevered from caves to cities, from stone tools to spacecraft. We persevered through dark ages to enlightenment, through hatred to learn love, through ignorance to seek knowledge. And now, faced with a power that could easily destroy us, we persevere still. Zaxinar's form had stabilized, its galactic eyes fixed intently on Chen. This perseverance, it is not just survival. No, Chen shook her head. Survival is passive, merely continuing to exist. Perseverance is active. It's striving, improving, overcoming. It's falling down 7 times and standing up 8. It's looking at the impossible and saying not yet. She took a step closer to the alien emissary. We persevere not just for ourselves, but for all life on our world. We persevere in our quest for knowledge, in our drive to explore, in our capacity to wonder. We persevere in the face of our own flaws, always striving to be better than we were yesterday. And now, Chen continued, her voice soft but intense, we persevere in extending a hand of friendship to the stars. We've proven we can stand against you if we must, but we'd rather stand with you, to explore this vast universe together. Silence fell over the desert as Zaxinar processed this declaration. The human delegation held its breath, aware that the fate of Earth hung on how this alien envoy interpreted their response. Finally, Zaxinar spoke, its mental voice tinged with something akin to awe. In all our travels, in all the species we've encountered, never have we seen such spirit, such perseverance. The alien's form shimmered, and for a moment, it seemed to grow, becoming more substantial, more real. The Council has deliberated, and we have reached a decision. Every human present tensed, ready for whatever verdict the cosmos might render. Humanity, Zaxinar declared, its voice resonating with formal power. You have proven yourselves worthy. The Galactic Council recognizes Earth as a sovereign, independent world. We withdraw our demand for tribute and extend an invitation for diplomatic relations. A collective gasp of relief and joy swept through the human delegation. President Chen's shoulders sagged slightly, the weight of the world lifting from them. But Zaxnar wasn't finished. Moreover, the Council is curious. Your perseverance, your drive to overcome challenges. These are qualities we have not seen in such abundance before. We believe there is much we can learn from each other. The alien extended a shimmering appendage, a gesture unmistakably mirroring a human handshake. President Chen, people of Earth, welcome to the galactic community. May your perseverance light the way for us all. With hands that trembled slightly, President Chen reached out and clasped the alien's offered limb. In that moment, a new chapter in human history began. not with fire and destruction, but with understanding and hope. As news of the encounter spread across the globe, celebrations erupted in every city, town, and village. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just unscathed, but victorious. They had persevered, and in doing so, had claimed their place among the stars. In orbit, Colonel Tanaka watched as the massive council ship began to move, not to attack, but to take up a peaceful orbit around Earth. Tears of joy and pride streamed down her face in the zero gravity. "We did it," she whispered, her eyes fixed on the blue marble of Earth below. "We persevered." As the sun set on this most momentous of days, a new sense of unity and purpose swept across the planet. Humanity had been tested and had risen to the challenge. They had persevered, and in doing so, had opened the door to a future brighter than any they had dared to imagine. The word persevere became a rallying cry, a reminder of what humans could achieve when they stood together. It was no longer just a word. It was a promise to the future, a declaration to the cosmos. Humanity had taken its first true step into the galactic community, and they had done it not with weapons or surrender, but with the very quality that defined them, their unbreakable spirit, their ability to persevere. A new era dawns. The days following Earth's historic encounter with the Galactic Council were a whirlwind of activity, celebration, and profound change. As news of the peaceful resolution spread, a wave of jubilation swept across the globe. Streets filled with revelers, strangers embraced, and for a brief, shining moment, the divisions that had long plagued humanity seemed to melt away in the face of their shared cosmic triumph. In the halls of power, leaders scrambled to adapt to this new reality. The United Nations convened an emergency session to establish the framework for humanity's engagement with the galactic community. President Chen, hailed as a hero for her role in the negotiations, addressed the assembly. "We stand at the dawn of a new era," she declared, her voice carrying the weight of history, "an era where humanity is no longer alone in the cosmos, where our horizons extend beyond the boundaries of our solar system. But with this great opportunity comes great responsibility." The UN voted unanimously to create a new body, the Earth Diplomatic Court for Extraterrestrial Affairs, EDCEA. This organization would be tasked with managing humanity's interactions with the Galactic Council and any other alien civilizations they might encounter. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the astrophysicist who had first received the alien transmission, found herself appointed as the head of a new global initiative for xenoscience. "We have so much to learn," she told reporters, her eyes shining with excitement. "The universe has just become infinitely more fascinating, and we're only at the beginning of our journey to understand it." Meanwhile, Dr. Alicia Emerson and her team at Project Prometheus were working around the clock to refine and expand upon the space-time modulator technology. "What we've created here isn't just a defensive tool," she explained during a press conference. "It's a key to understanding the fundamental nature of the universe. The potential applications are, well, they're literally universal." In orbit, the International Space Station underwent a dramatic transformation. With the help of Galactic Council technicians, it was expanded and enhanced, becoming humanity's first true embassy to the stars. Colonel Yuki Tanaka, having played a crucial role in the initial contact, was appointed as Earth's first galactic ambassador. "It's humbling," Tanaka admitted in her first transmission from the newly christened Cosmic Concordance Station, "to look out these windows and see not just Earth, but the ships of a dozen alien species. It's a reminder of how small we are, and yet how significant our actions can be." As the months passed, the impact of Earth's cosmic debut continued to ripple across human society. Scientific advancement accelerated at an unprecedented rate as humans collaborated with alien researchers. New technologies emerged, promising solutions to long-standing problems like climate change, disease, and energy scarcity. But it wasn't just in the realm of science that humanity felt the change. Art, music, and literature exploded with new ideas inspired by the vastness of the cosmos and the diversity of alien cultures. Schools around the world updated their curricula to include xenobiology, astropolitics, and galactic history. Perhaps most profoundly, a new sense of unity began to take hold across the planet. Old conflicts and divisions, while not disappearing overnight, began to seem petty in the face of humanity's new role on the cosmic stage. Countries that had once been bitter enemies now found themselves working together on joint space exploration projects. A year after the initial contact, Earth played host to the first Galactic Cultural Exchange Festival. Alien visitors from 100 worlds mingled with humans in the streets of major cities, sharing art, music, food, and ideas. The event was a resounding success, cementing Earth's reputation as a vibrant, dynamic member of the galactic community. During the festival's closing ceremony, held beneath the starry sky in Times Square, President Chen once again addressed the world and their cosmic guests. A year ago, we faced what seemed like an insurmountable challenge, she began, her voice carrying across the hushed crowd. We were confronted with a power beyond our comprehension, a force that could have easily crushed us. But we did not cower. We did not submit. We persevered. She paused, looking up at the stars twinkling above. That word, persevere, has become more than just our response to the Galactic Council. It has become our mission statement to the cosmos. We persevere in our quest for knowledge, in our drive to explore, in our capacity to grow and change. Chen gestured to the diverse crowd, humans and aliens alike. Look around you. See the beauty that emerges when different cultures, different species come together in peace and mutual respect. This is the future we chose when we decided to persevere, to reach out to the stars with open hands rather than clenched fists. As she spoke, a murmur of excitement ran through the crowd. All eyes turned skyward as a brilliant light blossomed among the stars. The ignition of humanity's first faster-than-light ship, embarking on its maiden voyage to a nearby star system. That light, Chen continued, her voice filled with pride and hope, represents more than just technological achievement. It represents the indomitable spirit of humanity, our curiosity, our courage, our unwavering determination to push beyond our limits. She raised her hand, as if reaching for the departing ship. As we take our first true steps into the cosmic ocean, let us carry with us the lessons we've learned. Let us remember that our greatest strength lies not in our technology or our resources, but in our ability to persevere, to adapt, to grow. To our new friends among the stars, she said, nodding to the alien dignitaries present, we say this: thank you for the opportunity to prove ourselves. We look forward to millennia of friendship, of shared discovery and mutual growth. Finally, she turned back to the human portion of the audience, her eyes shining with emotion. And to humanity, I say this: be proud, be bold. The road ahead will not always be easy. There will be challenges we cannot yet imagine. But if there's one thing the past year has proven, it's this: there is no obstacle we cannot overcome if we stand united, if we persevere. As Chen's speech concluded, a chorus of cheers erupted from the crowd, human voices mingling with the diverse vocalizations of a dozen alien species. The sound rose into the night sky, a jubilant declaration to the cosmos that humanity had arrived, ready to take its place among the stars. In that moment, as humans and aliens alike celebrated under the cosmic tapestry of the night sky, the true magnitude of what had been achieved began to sink in. Humanity had not just survived its first contact with an advanced alien civilization. It had thrived. They had taken a demand for submission and turned it into an opportunity for growth, for advancement, for a future brighter than any they had dared to dream. The word persevere echoed across the planet, carried on countless lips in hundreds of languages. It was no longer just a word. It was a promise to the future, a declaration to the universe. It was the essence of humanity distilled into 7 letters, a beacon that would guide them as they took their first tentative steps into the cosmic ballroom. As the celebration continued into the night, people everywhere looked to the stars with new eyes. The twinkling lights were no longer distant and unknowable, but beacons of possibility, of adventure, of a future waiting to be explored. Humanity had persevered. They had claimed their place in the universe, and this, they knew, was only the beginning.